strategy for me to use. For those of you who don't know, I taught music, elementary music and Title I reading when I first got hired in Storm Lake 31 years ago. And then I did that for a few years, and then I taught first grade for a few years. And then when Storm Lake went to all-day everyday kindergarten, so did I. And I did that for 19 years. Well, this last spring, our elementary music teacher retired. And several people approached me and said, Deb, you need to think about doing that. And I was like, oh, but I'm going to be president of the Iowa Reading Association as a music teacher? No, I don't think so. And then I thought about it a little bit more, and the posting came out on a Wednesday, and I had a whole week to decide what I was going to do. I got in the car. My grandma is 103 years old. She lives in Sioux City currently with my aunt. And so I said, whatever my grandma decides for me, that's what I'm going to do. And I went over and met with her. We went to Texas Roadhouse. You know how that is, really a noisy place. But here, my grandma, she can hardly hear. I said, Grandma, should I do it or not? She was, Debbie, that's a no-brainer. Of course you're going to do it. I said, okay. My 103-year-old grandma using phrases like no-brainer. But anyway, cool lady. She and I student taught 50 years apart in the same school. And a little bit to know about her sense of humor. She said, I don't mind that you're student teaching in Janesville. I went to Warburg, so I can't say that too loud, probably Northwestern. Student taught Janesville, and she said, it's okay if you student teach in the same building I do, as long as you don't have the same supervising teacher. Really cool lady. Really cool lady. So whatever grandma says goes. And I am having the time of my life. It's just a great point in my career to make a career change, and I'm, of course, involved in a lot of literacy in my music classroom. I have a music blog, but this is, I'm going to refer tonight to my kindergarten one. Our school district, like many of yours at Storm Lake, said, we want you to be involved with technology as much as you can, because this is 21st century stuff. The kids are growing up with technology. You need to try it too. But if you want to do a blog, it's okay. That was in September of 2011. October of 2011, when we got together again, strongly encourage you to have a blog. December of 2011, you must have a blog. And it was funny because last year I had so many parents that were kind of loitering around. You know, you can look at this stuff and not have to be signed in. And I had over 10,000 hits last year. So it's pretty cool. It gets out there. It gets the information out there. I do it as a journal, and I write on it every day, and I do that in the music classroom as well. But you can pick your categories. So like if somebody's looking at my blog and they just want to see what happened in reading, I have it all categorized. Or if you want to just see what I'm doing in math, or what I've posted on about special events or holidays. So it's really neat that you can label it. You'll notice here, no comments. I heard somebody talk about that, but they really wish that people would comment on it. I did get a lot of comments last year in particular. And then I'm going to share with you at the end how I made my blog into a book. And so I have a complete year of my lessons and all the comments that people sent. So I'll share that at the end of my session. But I just want to go through a few things that involve literacy tonight so you can see. This is last year. And when we started out our school year, we have a little puppet that goes home, and it's a bumblebee. And we have Super Bee, and the child that has the best behavior for the day gets to take it home. It's a bag full of books for starting school. It's a bit of honey candy. It's a journal that they can write in and share. So anyway, this little pumpkin got Super Bee, and that's what that's all about. Super behavior. And everybody gets a turn. Some of them it's not until October, first part of November. Oh, what do you mean you lost Super Bee? And then we don't have too much homework in kindergarten, but this is Prove It. And every Friday or every Thursday night, the kids take home a bag with their name on it, and they need to bring something from home that begins with the letter we were talking about. In this case, it was all about purple. They had to bring something from home that was purple. And you'll notice that in Storm Lake, as you know, many of you know, Caucasian students are kind of there's not as many as you might have in your school district. So they all understand that this homework is really important, and we talk about that with families at our opening conferences, and they do a really great job about bringing their Prove It back. But it's fun when we get into the alphabet a little bit more to see them, like when we're talking about the letter J, J in Spanish doesn't sound like J in English. So what they bring from home is a little bit different than what we would bring. So it's a neat learning experience for everyone involved. We'll move on to September. We have a lot of field trips. We have a lot of people that come in. We're talking about community helpers there. Magnets.
How do you get in the picture?
Okay, that's a great question. I always do my writing that day. And then I download the pictures on the weekends because it takes a little bit longer to download them. But I just load my camera software onto my computer, my laptop, and then I can just download them at any time.
But do you have the kids take pictures of you?
Oh, well, how did I get my picture in? Oh, my teacher associate. Later in the year, they do take pictures of me. But it looks like Maisie's pretty popular. She's in a lot of these pictures. Okay. Chrysanthemum. I know many of you read that book about names and how important your name is to you. And in Storm Lake, it's such a unique situation because we have Jesus, we have Jorge, and we have Dominique. We just have such unusual names that some of them are quite lengthy, like Chrysanthemum. So it's really neat to talk about our names in particular. And then this is Teaching Made Easier. It's cost $40 for you to have a subscription for a year, but it's fantastic. It'll make bingo games for you. It'll make bracelets for you. It will make anything. You just put your word list in, and it'll make all kinds of things. Crossword puzzles. Super, super easy. It takes about 30 seconds to make something once you put your word list in. And so what I did is I took all my word journey lists, levels A through E. We got to in kindergarten. Anyway, I put all those in there, and so I can make unlimited amounts of things. But this will make a whole class set of bingo cards, so you don't have to cut and paste and move them all around within about 3 minutes. So it's a really neat thing to have. TeachingMadeEasier.com. And the gal that founded the company is from Des Moines. This is my mother-in-law. She passed away last year, and I'm just sharing that because you can bring in your own personal things if you want to do into your blog. Where in the heck was Mrs. Mortensen all week? This is where she was. Prove it again. This is a live prove it that one of the kids brought. For the letter R, he brought his rabbit to school in his backpack. In his backpack. Luckily, Mom came within 30 minutes after school started.
Oh, poor buddy.
Bubblegum, the old song, Dr. Jean's song of Bubblegum. Birthdays is another song from Jack Hartman's CDs. Okay. Name bugs. Name bugs are fun to do at the beginning of the school year. You just take a piece of paper, 11 by 17, fold it in half horizontally, and then you just write their name really large, keep it folded, and then cut it, and it creates an insect type shape. So we've got some caterpillars here for longer names and some butterflies for shorter names. The kids love that. Here. Losing teeth, big thing in kindergarten. We have to blog about it. Pinkalicious, that great book, with all those colors. We do a whole pink day of making pink cupcakes and decorating them as ugly or as gaudy as we can. This little guy was one of my special needs students from last year. He was nonverbal, and on his birthday, he spoke. So he got a birthday book. All the kids drew a picture of him, or drew a picture of something they thought he would like, and we put it in a birthday book. And there's where literacy pays off because he spoke. He said thank you to his classmates. It was the first time he spoke. Pretty touching. And you'll notice that I did this on Blogster or Blogger, and our school district subscribes to this. So that's how I got started. And you'll see here I have 10,000 hits and 10,000 hits. Some members, but there's a lot of people just here. Just see, check it out. Excuse me.
How do you protect your kids' privacy?
How do I protect my kids' privacy? I What happens is I never put their last names in anything, and the parents sign a permission slip at the beginning of the year to be in the newspaper, to be on the blog. But if they choose not to be in the newspaper, then they certainly are not on the blog. Okay, let's just find another one here. And off to the side are all the titles. So not only is everything categorized, but all the titles are there. And I'll show you later why that's important. And now we moved on to October. And the thing that's fun too is to see how the kids have changed physically throughout the school year. This is Halloween, of course. This is a game called Funny Faces. And it's just an old board game, and it's got like plastic sheets on it, and you roll it. So you spin a spinner, and then they get to add different parts to their face. It's kind of a neat commercial game. There's pre-readers and non-readers. We were fortunate enough last year to receive a grant from the USDA on healthy foods. And in this one, they're making a wrap out of peppers and broccoli and ranch dressing, and it was beautiful. It was absolutely gorgeous. You make this rainbow out of there's ham and all these things, and then they wrapped it up together. I thought that was awesome. And some of my fussy eaters even like that. Especially then again, the author's chair. Each summer when the lawn chairs are on sale, or right before school starts, I purchase a child's lawn chair, a plastic one. And when the kids write a story and read it to their classmates, then they get to sign the author's chair with a Sharpie marker. So that's what Amy's doing. She's reading her original story and then signing it. And last year I had so many students who wanted to sign the author's chair, who did sign the author's chair, that I had to go buy a table to match. So we filled up the table and the author's chair. But then on the last day of school, we have a drawing to see who gets the tables home. There we are again with our healthy eating. They just painted a rainbow and then found pictures. Here's one of our helpers that was with us, a student teacher. We were saying goodbye to her. Pumpkin stuff. You guys all do all that stuff. Fall art project. Go Fish. This was also made with Teaching Made Easier, and this was our sight words. So you get, and that's one of the games you can make. And we just had 2 words that matched, and then if you didn't have it, you say go fish, and they fish for it. But again, probably 3 minutes to make a whole sight word set. Friendship pockets, that's another food that we ate. Washing our hands. Oh, this is fun. We've got literacy workstations. We do that every Friday when we've had a full week of school. It seems like for a long time we didn't have 5 days of school. But usually we do guided reading on Monday through Thursday, and then we have literacy workstations on Friday. And this little boy has a magnifying glass, and I took all of our sight words that we've learned so far and put them on the tiniest font possible. And then they're all around this fire station, or fire engine and firefighter, and they're trying to find them and read them. But if you just do it the tiniest font possible,
What did you
kids
call
really
that
love it.
event?
Excuse me?
What did you call that activity?
This is our literacy workstations, one of them.
Just a, okay.
Yeah, but it could be with any theme, like if you're doing something for Thanksgiving, just type it really, really small, and then they find it, and then they write it. They record it. 10 Black Dots, again, another famous book, and we just took different amounts of dots and created a picture. So Cole here had 5 dots, and she made it an apples in a basket, and Maya had 3, and she made hers into a snowman, and Marlene had 3 as well, but hers were 2 the same and 1 different. She made it to a clown. So a nice class book of how to utilize 10 dots. But a lot of brainstorming first before you do that. And like I said, on Fridays we can sometimes have literacy workstations if we don't get out early. These kids are just having some free choice stations. And this is the Pirates game. Oh my gosh, so much fun. It doesn't take any batteries, which is even better. But you just put all these swords in the barrel, and the pirate pops down, and then they take turns pulling one out at a time. They have to have a particular color, so 4 players. And then if they pull it up and he pops out, then you lose. But they changed the rule. They said, thought you should win if you want the pirate to pop up. visit to the fire station. I mean, blogging is just a great reference to your whole year. There's our pep rally. Okay, we do handwriting with tears in Storm Lake. And so this little guy is doing wet, dry, try. And everybody has their own slate for those who are not familiar with it. I write the letter ahead of time. Then they take a sponge and they trace it with the correct strokes. And then they have to try to write it before the water dries on their slate. So that little guy, it was hard to get a smile out of him with that day. Going to the pumpkin patch on a field trip. And with the blog, you don't need to print them all out. The parents can do that if they want to. Okay. Go back a little more. So you're traveling with me this year. Okay. Now we're into November. This is about more like the time we're in right now. Again, enjoying a healthy snack of yogurt and granola. Quim. In Storm Lake, we do Quim. And I really enjoy Quim because of the way you can differentiate so easily. Each child has their own deck of cards, and the children who sit together need to have different colors, just in case they all go flying or blow away or whatever off the table. But anyway, then they have their own copy of the Quim poster that I've printed out, and here they're matching. So that's one of the first stages. Once we've shaken out the words that we noticed from the poster, now they're matching. Then the next few days, we'll spend a lot of time, who can find a word that has an M in it, or who can find a word that has a short A in it, or who can find a compound word, or there's just so many possibilities to Quim. So that's what they're doing right there. And then at the end of the year, they each got their own Quim notebook of all the posters we did throughout the year, all of the cards that they could use to match, and then all of the sentences and paragraphs that we wrote with Quim. So it's a neat little collection for them to take home at the end of the school year. This is math, so I can't talk about math tonight, right? No, you can look at this for later. But, writing and shaving cream, just another modality of involving our handwriting. This little pumpkin spoke no English when she started kindergarten. And then when she moved in December, she was so fluent. In fact, she was getting in trouble for talking too much. But she's using shaving cream, and then I just have a piece of tin foil underneath it so they can quickly pick it up. And the rule is one finger. You put your whole hand in it, you're done. So we've done it with chocolate pudding, we've done it with whipped cream, we've done it with shaving cream. Election day is a big thing in kindergarten involving literacy. They make all the signs for our polling place, and they put those on the doors. Then we have people who are in charge of the vote. We have people who are in charge of using our smart board there to tally the results. What did you like better, hamburgers or hot dogs? Or which sport do you like better, basketball or football? So some real major issues that we get decided there. There's my little friend who was very nonverbal throughout most of the school year, but here he's using a paper laptop, and those are really easy to get off online. Just get you'll get a paper keyboard and you put it in a file folder, and then above it you put a sheet protector, and they just slide their sight words in and just type them. They think they're good stuff, even though they don't have a computer, but it's just a paper one, and then again they can fold it up, you can differentiate. So that's a great thing. And did you know you could grow a pumpkin within a pumpkin? That's what's happening here. I didn't even take the pulp out or anything. I just took the top off, put dirt in, don't even have to water it, and it'll grow a pumpkin in there. And then it'll decompose, and it's quite messy, but it's cool. Put my window. Okay. These are some kids who are rolling 2 dice and seeing if they can create real words or nonsense words. So in this case, they did create a real word. This is November of kindergarten. And then this is a game that I think maybe Lori taught me how to make or showed me in a workshop. But it's called Swat the Fly. And there's all these flies on here, and they have different letters of the alphabet with them. And so I want to spell the word cat, and they just as hard as they can, cat. Or, I want to find what comes after B, and they find the C and swat it. This little guy was so shy, but he had a swing. He had a swing, and I was like, ooh, I feel sorry for your sister. Okay, a few more. But really fun to do with that with any graphics that you might want to swap and get rid of. I could see a mousetrap in the future. Star Lab, we have that come every other year. Here we are doing some patterning for Thanksgiving. Okay. Oh, this was our nutrition unit. We involved our school lunch people. Here, oh, really cool. The last 4 years, I have had a pen pal class in Penticton, British Columbia, and it's another kindergarten class. And when we got our own, we have each kindergarten has 2 laptops that they acquired, but part of it was in order to keep in your classroom, you had to involve yourself with a classroom in another country. So several people got Chinese classrooms, several people got India classrooms, but the time difference made it hard for them to communicate with each other. So I just got on a web serve when I got mine, and I was like, is anybody interested in being a pen pal with a class in Iowa? That's in Midwestern United States, not Idaho. But anyway, this lady, Mary Ann, contacted me and said, yes, she wanted to do something, but she said, I'm not very comfortable with technology. I said, I'm not either, really, but let's see if we can do something. So we did, our first few projects we do together are hard copy. They're like examples like this. In this case, they're doing a book about themselves, like draw a picture of yourself, then we put their school picture, your favorite animal, your favorite color, and how old you are. Just real basic questions that kindergartners can answer. And we put that in a book, then we send it off, and about 3 weeks later, we would get one back from them answering our questions. Every month, we did send a PowerPoint telling about our community, about our school. We did an alphabet one to teach them the alphabet because they were so far behind us academically. It was more like a preschool setting than a kindergarten setting. So we had to kind of, I don't want to say dumb down, but we just had to kind of make our projects a little more preschool. But yet at the same time, I wanted to make it academically more fun for these guys. So we did things like that. Once a month, we'd send a PowerPoint off, and then they would send something off. And the culmination was, at the end of the year, then we Skyped them. So about May 8th, May 10th, somewhere in there, we would Skype them. And that was really, really neat. Because all year they've had this pen pal that they've known by name, but to be able to talk to them. And they had like a French accent, so they talked a little bit different than we did. And it was really fun. But to get this unit kicked off in the fall, each of my children had a passport. And so as we learned something new about Canada, then they added maple leaves to their passport. And they thought they were pretty cool. Hopefully I can find one of those pictures before the night's over. But what a neat experience, and my kids learned all about their industry, their animals, their climate. It was just a wonderful experience. More math. Okay. I'm going to skip more to the end of the year. So let's see how we have changed. Okay, Easter and readings. Okay, there we are. Bob the Builder. I acquired some hats that were for next to nothing. And I was like, how am I going to use these? Especially with the boys. The boys are so interested in Bob the Builder. So we had a write the room activity, and they just put on a hat, and if they could read the word, they could write it on their record sheet. And so it built like a brick wall of words, and they have to read that to someone, and then they take it home and read it to their family. So just adding that one little hat made such a big difference. Creating rain, any experiment, having a float. Here we are with our PIM notebooks, again, a little bit further in the year. And now the girls are reading nursery rhymes. You know, they say people aren't learning nursery rhymes, kids aren't learning nursery rhymes anymore. My kids do everything from Humpty Dumpty to all of them, Willy Winky, and all of those things. So they're getting very comfortable with the nursery rhymes, reading them independently. This is a graphic organizer on the sun and what we know about the sun. Here's somebody reading for the office chair. Several years ago, another gal and I, a colleague of mine, Storm Lake, we wrote a book called One a Day Pause. I don't know if any of you have seen that book, but it's all kinds of phonemic awareness and phonics activities for throughout every day of the school year. And this is one of the rhyming activities. It's a leprechaun. And you have to hear this first sentence, and then we leave out the word that rhymes, and then that's going to be the body part. So, like, if I played a game with this leprechaun, I would lose. Let's give him some pointy shoes, and then we would draw that. So, anyway, it's a good way to review rhyme, and very, very easy to write those yourself. I've seen them where you draw, like this one, or you have the picture already drawn if you're a really good artist like Tammy. If you have the picture already on the board, and then you erase something as it rhymes, and then you have a blank screen at the end. That's kind of fun too. Those are called rhyme ways. Here's for the letter X. They created their own X-rays of their healthy bodies. Don't look too closely, but one of them has his bones upside down. Character counts, we have that in our school, so that's what that is happening there. Okay. And I see symbols. Okay, this is what I wanted to show you. Every February or so, we have a wedding in our classroom, and Q and U get married. And so some years I've had veils, some years I've had hats, sometimes I've had corsages. But in this case, Q has to be the quietest person, quietest girl in your class. Okay? And so the kids go, who's the quietest girl in class? Ashley was the quietest girl in my class. Then the boy is going to be the U, and he's going to bring out the best in that Q. So you've got to find somebody who's a little more boisterous to be the groom. And then we have a wedding and we have vows like I, Q, take you to be my wife, to stand by me in words like quick and quiet and we. And then we don't do any kissing or anything like that, but we do. Everybody has the bubbles, and they have little labels on them, the date of the wedding, and they blow bubbles as they walk through the arch of students. We have wedding cake. It's pretty fun. It's pretty fun. I don't know anything about honeymoon plans, or I don't know anything about the future. Here's the guest book. Congratulations, you and you. Were you sitting on the groom side or the bride side of the church? Pretty crazy. There we are with our Canadian friends, and this is the first package we got from them. So that was pretty exciting to hear from them and get stickers from their flag. All kinds of good stuff. I could go on all night, and I won't. Okay, this is taking the links that I know many of you have in your classroom and you use them for math or for measuring, but we link them together to make our sight words. So that's really good for those kids who need fine motor practice, and it actually has to look like the word. Now in this case, she did uppercase letters instead of lowercase, which was fine. But again, you can differentiate it, give them a harder word or an easier word, but taking those links and making your sight words out of those. And it works really, really well for links too. Okay, a water cycle bracelet. I know this isn't literacy, but it really helps them to remember the water cycle. So we've got the yellow bead for evaporation, the green for the grass that grows when we get precipitation. There's kind of a crystal one here for condensation. White, it forms a cloud. Blue is water. And then yellow again, so starting over and over again. So water travels in a cycle. Yes, it does. I can sing that song for you. This is a weather review game. Again, it doesn't involve literacy as much as listening, but after a few read-alouds, I want to see whether or not they're understanding weather and the concepts of weather. So each team has their own umbrella, and if they get a question right, then they get to add a reader out. So that's what that's all about. These are extra large neckties. Now, these are number ones, but I do have some letter ones as well. And they're really, really large, and the kids have to read upside down. But they do fine. And so I just say, put your finger by what sound goes. And they have to find that real quickly. Don't put them in order, though, because otherwise that'd be too easy. And the ties are both different, too. So it's kind of a fun way to check just having a paper necktie. Sight words, numbers, letters, sounds, so many things can be done with that. And then another thing that I wanted to touch on is in Storm Lake, we have, twice a year, we do Book Club Plus. You've heard about that. Book Club Plus is you take one book and you really, really delve into it with all kinds of comprehension strategies. So the two books that we do are A Little Bit of Winter for the winter one, and the other one is Make Way for Ducklings, the old Robert McCloskey book. It's still really effective. But then we spend 2 weeks delving into comprehension strategies, prediction, sequence, just all these different comprehension strategies. But I was sharing with the kids that the very first book I read all by myself was The Carrot Seed. And I still can remember this day. It was first grade, and it was November of first grade. And these guys are kindergartners, and they're reading The Carrot Seed by themselves. So I don't know if they go home and say, my teacher's dumb, she didn't learn to read till she was in first grade, or what. But they just are so amazed that, oh, he watered it every day, and he weeded it every day. And just like you guys, you come to school every day, and you don't get it the first day, but you certainly get it after. Recycling. I just get all my junk, my art supplies out, and we just have a fun time recycling. There's all kinds of puppets and masks and telescopes. Oh, that was a surprise. I came home from an international reading conference, and this was on my wall. Officer Friendly, our police officer. Okay, this was another activity we did with Canada. We were talking about that 75% of our maple syrup comes from Canada. And so I wanted to do a sequencing activity with nonfiction. So I read about all the steps that our syrup goes through to get to our table. And then they created their own book. And there's paper punches right here. And what I did is I bound it with a popsicle stick, so it was actually made out of wood, just like the tree that the sap came out of. And then I used a rubber band to kind of fasten it through. So anyway, kind of a dual purpose there on teaching kids about trees and all the products we can get from trees. I gotta tell you about this little one. Last week I had my first concert, and his mom came up to me and said, "What are you doing in music?" And I said, "Oh, what do you mean?" She goes, "Well, Ivan always got pink slips in music in years past." I mean, he's only, 7 years past. But anyway, he hasn't gotten any pink slips from you. I go, "No." And she goes, "He sang out so much at that concert." So, he is a funny one. All right, here again we are with Canada, and these are clothespin animals. So we've done all kinds of research about the animals that they have versus the animals we have. And they created clothespin animals, and then we have those setting out with their research reports. All right, let me go one more time, I promise that I'll be. We're learning about the farm. This is May now. This is fun, and I could have gotten this from you too as well, Lori. Dr. Pepper or any kind of pop, if you put the can, an empty can on the copy machine, you can make this to cover your game. But what you do is you have sight words on cards, and then one of, or probably, I would say a dozen, because you want everybody to get one. If it says pop, then they get to have a drink of pop. So it's not a big deal, but it's a huge deal for them. So anyway, you want to use your sight words. If you want to have the word chips on there instead of pop, you can have potato chips or whatever. May Day. Okay, this is part of Book Club Plus. This is the book called Farmer Duck. And we wanted to make a story map from that, so we could also compare it with Make Way for Ducklings. So in this case, we have the characters here, we have the setting, we have the problem, and we have the solution. For those of you who don't know about the book, the farmer and Farmer Duck is extremely lazy, and Duck has had it. He does not want to work anymore, so he has all of his animal friends come on his behalf to save them. Our naturalist, writing our ABCs on Smart Start paper. This is a Frog Street Press product, and it's quite cool because it has a blue line for the sky and it has a green line for the ground. So you're going from sky to ground, sky to ground. But this was their first exposure to that. So anytime you have some new kind of handwriting paper, I always laminate some of it so they can just practice and wipe it off. so it's not unsuccessful from the start. That's what those little girls are doing. We planted a tree, we journaled about it, it died. And then to end, I just want to go to the last one. Okay. Here is some girls, they're a little more advanced, and so they're working on CVC and CVCE words. These cards were made on Teaching Me Easier. I really don't work for that company, but I really like their stuff. Anyway, they had to sort them about whether or not they were a short vowel word or a long vowel word. And then this is a graph we did because we learned that in Canada they love hockey. What sport do you like? And those are just fun foam shapes with their names on them to create a graph. It's really more cool. And here's Lila. I have to show her. She came to visit my classroom and she brought her little friend. He was kind of obnoxious. Okay, it was Emma's birthday, using rulers. I'm going to go to this past year, my last post as a kindergarten teacher. And I'm going to read it to you if you don't care. Wow, it seems like just yesterday we were looking for the gingerbread man as we explore Storm Lake Elementary School. This has been a fantastic year and we have learned so much. We made a bracelet with beads on it to help us remember all the special events this year. Yellow was for the hot days as we began school and were dismissed due to excessive heat. Brown was for the football games and meeting with Storm Lake football players and cheerleaders at homecoming. Orange was for our visit to the pumpkin patch. That was our first field trip and we even got to eat our lunch outside at the farm. Black was for the pilgrim hats. We made Indian headbands and really learned a lot about Thanksgiving. Red was for our visit to Santa's castle, thanks to our business partner. White was for the snow. It was really cold this winter. We had lots of inside recesses. Pink was for our Valentine's party. The boys and girls really came through for their friends and brought Valentines for them. Green was for our St. Patrick's Day. That leprechaun sure made a mess of our room. Blue was for our learning about the water cycle. And purple was for the flowers that bloom in May. Put them all together in a circle and you have a rainbow. A rainbow reminds me of the kindergarten class of 2014. Rainbows are proof that we made it through the storm. A rainbow cannot be made without sunlight. Each of you kids was a light to me this year. All the smiles and all the hard work has made this a great year. As I write this final post for the 2013-2014 school year, I'm filled with joy. So happy to have been your teacher and so happy that we could have had these last 9 months to explore each other's likes and dislikes, celebrating and crying, laughing and singing. I sent home a letter today that says it all. Remember that I will always be interested in you and your destiny, wherever you go, whatever you do, and whoever you become. Parents, thanks for sharing your child with me this year. I look forward to seeing you all at the first grade concert at Storm Lake Elementary School next March. Love, Mrs. Mortensen. And here are the winners of the author's chair and the author's table. 2 of my smallest little girls had to carry these things on the bus. But they were so deserving. And then perfect attendance. I had 2 students that got last year. So your blog can really be a record of your year. And so each year, I ask parents if they'd be interested in buying this. And this is a website called Blog to Print, number 2 print. And it will take your blog from whatever dates you want. So I go from the first day of school to the last day of school and print it. It's just like a yearbook. It's got all the pictures. It's got all the stories in it. It's got a table of contents based on the titles that I titled each one. And it tells you what page it's on. And I have quite a few parents buy these. $35 each. Yeah. But they have a whole record of their child's school year, so they don't have to keep constantly going back to the blog and printing out the pages they want. This little gal was my teacher associate. She had a baby. She didn't come up. But she's very happy to be a stay-at-home mom. But I'll pass this around. I've done this the last 3 years. And I just have a record of kids who moved away, or teacher associates who haven't come back, or even in one case, my first year, a student who passed away. I have that record. So, very, very cool thing to do. And yes, it does take time. I do write stories during the day, sometime during my prep time or after school, and then I download all the pictures. If you are a Google school and you have a Google blog, it doesn't take very long to download pictures once you put your own camera software in your computer. But for the first 2 years, I didn't know about all that, so I was working with something that wasn't compatible, and so it took me a little bit longer. But, and now I want to show you real quick my music one. I know we're not here tonight to study that. Yes, okay, the address, yeah. D, all lowercase, D Mortensen, Mortensen, dot, blogspot.com. And then if you want to follow the music one, it's the same, it's just D Mortensen, number 2, dot, blogspot.com. And my music one is called Take Note of Storm Lake Elementary School, like music notes, that's why I chose that. The Learning Safari, the reason I chose that one is because my classroom the theme was monkeys and that kind of stuff. So that's why I called it that one. And like Lindsay mentioned about following other people's blogs, once you do, every time you go to open it up, look at all these teaching ideas I have. Because I follow different people's blogs. And so whenever they update, I get their information too. So I have a wealth of teaching ideas right here. And I did not write today because I had to get out of school right away, so slap my hand. And there's my activity so far. That's kind of neat to see too. A couple things with music. What does the fox say? That's kind of a good thing. So we're exploring our voices. Last week our high school invited us to come see the sound of music. That's what that is. Picky Nicky is a song we're learning about short I. And so the kids are making lowercase i's. I can't believe it. A girl who doesn't like candy and pop, but that's her. Last week, our Veterans Day program, my first concert, we had the students bring Campbell's soup, and then I brought the Progresso. We created a flag of 143 cans to go to our food pantry. That was very well received. And then these are all the performers. And I just love their beautiful faces. We made a flag out of their faces. Action alphabet, this is beginning sounds, and these kids are doing W, work, work. And then we make a big deal about getting our thumb. I was so surprised at our last rehearsal that my socks came off. So second graders are pointing to my bare feet. Not going to take your socks off. And this little boy, again, as a kindergartner, so naughty. And he said to me, can I play a song for you? And so he's playing Peter, Buccaneer. And you'll notice in the back, all my students' names. I have 900 students, but I don't have, this is just kindergarten. But I'm seeing whether or not they're a quarter note name or an 8 to 8 note name. So Deb would be a quarter note. Kathy would be 2 8 notes. So I'm trying to incorporate literacy as much as I can in the music classroom. I have 900 students, yeah. K4. K4, yeah. So I go home next week. But I just wanted to tell you that your Iowa Reading Association president is still involved in literacy, even though she's in a different classroom. This little girl drew the winning design for our program for last week's concert. Fast versus slow. That's our fluency activity that we're doing in kindergarten. This is a song called Pass Around the Broomstick. And we had a broom, and there it is right here, the blue handle. And so when the music went fast, they passed around fast, trying to keep the beat. And if it went slow, then they had to slow down. Thankful for the USA. I always am putting words on cards that have similar ending sounds or prefixes. And in this case, we're talking about the full suffix in 4th grade. So the song is, we are thankful for the USA, we are thankful for the USA, oh, we are thankful, grateful, positively joyful, thankful for the USA. And so they all have different words, and they have to raise them when they hear it. So again, just trying to use literacy as much as possible. This little girl's auditioning. There's the 5 Little Pumpkins. I know many of you do that one. This little girl got a solo in our show last week. third graders are playing kazoos. You gotta be able to read music. So it all fits together really, really nicely for me. So anyway, blog has been really, really grateful for me to have developed lesson plans, for me to know my pacing of my school year. It's also just a great record of what's happening in my classroom. So anyone can look at it at any time and have fun with it. So if you have suggestions for me too, let me know, because I would love to hear those. Does anybody have any questions?
This is what you did on,
Yeah, Monster with a Google account. So I sign in under my Google address, like I did at school. Good. Okay, I have a bunch of books to give away, Julie, so I don't know how you want to do this.
well, did everybody sign in for the raffle box?
No, I just have one very little time, so.
They had a hard time unlocking the door.
I'll see it once every 8 weeks. It's kind of weird.
Same school or do you travel?
No, it's all under one roof. Yeah, it's from, like, we have a new school, it's 6 years old, it's our 6th year.
Really?
Did everybody get their name in?
It's like sprawling in the pocket.
Just scribble my name on
All I can see is like the arms and feet sticking out.
Pretty funny. Very cool.
First person to come is John, we have 5, and we went on 4, and then 2, All right, so first person gets 5 books. Laura.
Oh, 5 books.
Chantel gets 4. Florence gets 3. Megan gets 2. Sherry gets
Whatever you want.
Laura Van Ravensway gets some 2. Just go till they're done. Char, Harriet, Morgan. So I'd like to share a little bit about the 2015 reading conference. As someone who has been in charge of it before, it's so nice to be able to share all the events that you have.
She didn't really come
So
up with it
Nancy
too.
has a wonderful conference theme. For those of you who know her, she's a teacher from Independence, Iowa. And she loves to travel. She and her husband love to travel. She has a lot of keynote speakers. In fact, so many keynote speakers that I don't know if we'll have time for any of the current speakers. The first one is Eric Litwin. He's one of the co-authors of Pete the Cat. He will be there the first day on Tuesday. Yep, Rocket in My School Shoes. And here's his first book that he ever wrote, and it is hilarious. It comes with a CD/DVD with tons of fun music with it. Kelly Gallagher will be there, and for those of you who are taking the book study, this is the author of Redecide. He will be there. And you will have an opportunity to have dinner, or lunch, whatever you call that meal, with Callie Gallagher if you are taking the book study. The other author of our book study is Jennifer Saravallo. She wrote Literacy Playbook, and fantastic resource. And even if you're not taking it as a book study, it's a very easy read. It gives you a lot of resources on how to work with small groups. And she will also be having lunch with those staying for a book study. Donald Bear is on the International Reading Board, and we are so lucky he's from Ames. He's from Iowa, and he is a true teddy bear. I mean, his name is Bear, but he is a true teddy bear. He's willing to help us in any way we would like him to help. Right, a leader in literacy. Devin Skillian is a journalist, and he is working for NBC News, I believe, up in Detroit. And if he cannot make it, the only reason he would not be able to make it is if there's a world event, like a September 11th or something happening. Otherwise, he is so excited to come to Iowa. We met him when he spoke on memoirs of goldfish, but he's also written several books for, like memoirs of a hamster. I'm trying to think what this company is right here. Something. Sleeping Bear books. That's right. He's written several books for them. Dance. Julia Cook, she was at last year's conference as a concurrent speaker. She's a guidance counselor. I think you guys have had her at
She
Northwest
will be
Iowa.
at our office banquet.
Oh my gosh, you are in for a treat. Be sure you are here.
Right, yeah.
Be sure you are here. She has a brand new one out about the flight. And Mary Bigler, she will be our keynote at the end of the last day on Wednesday. A laugh a session.
She is a
Oh
ball.
my gosh. Yes, we are so fortunate to have her coming. She's super funny. Bruce Lansky will be working with our young authors. So if you are entering anyone in the young author contest and they win the state level, Bruce Lansky will be working with them. Again, his website has free poetry on it, so just look at eaglepoetry.com and you'll get all kinds of things. I downloaded one on Thanksgiving that's really cute about saving the turkey and KFC, kind of that kind of thing. Mike Graff, The Adventures with the Parkers. So if you are interested in that kind of thing, he's written over 75 books. Claire is with National Geographic Learning, and she will take us through how to teach young children to read nonfiction. Todd Whitaker, he's a professor, but he's also a very motivational speaker. Jane is also, I believe, working with nonfiction. She's a middle school teacher in Florida, and she's going to talk about hands-on in the middle school. One of the suggestions that we've received the last maybe 5 years or so is that we need to have more things for middle school, high school, and so I think Jane will really fill the bill for that. Common Core, we had that last year with Brenda Overturf, and Jane's just going to extend our learning on that. Her books are super, like you can take an idea just instantly from them. Use it in your classroom. And then some concurrent session speakers that we have coming. Heidi Butkus is a kindergarten teacher from California. She was doing so much public speaking that she's not teaching. She's just doing so much public speaking. Again, she has a wonderful website. She is one to incorporate music into the literacy classroom. Catherine Hannigan, the author of Ida B. I finally read that this summer. That is really good. I don't know why I didn't before. Portland. She's an Iowa author. And some other things that she's written there. Delia Ray, the Here Lies books, Finding Fortune. Wendy Hendricks is from Iowa City. I think that's a cool name. I am Tatum.
Can you slide over so we can see
I'm
the
sorry.
books? Thank you.
Big old schnoz in there. Jocelyn Green from Cedar Falls. These are all Iowa